I have pretty decent back development. I can do pull-ups and rows with lots of weight. I'd even go as far as to say back is one of my best body parts. But it seems like every time I go to the gym, I'll see someone doing these one-arm cable exercises. Iliac pull-downs, cross-body pull-arounds, reverse grip dick pull-downs. I don't have anything against these exercises per se, but if you're gonna do it right. I've improved these one-arm exercises to give you the most gains possible, and my advice will go against some of the evidence-based recommendations. I'll give you my 2 favorite variations and how I program them, the best form fixes for the juiciest back, and the worst mistakes to avoid.
It's like roadmap back here. With fingers all over. Yeah.
As much as I love to emphasize basic pull-ups and rows, there's something about one-arm back work that's special. It feels different in a good way, and I would recommend most people add it to their routine. I call these one-arm lat pull-downs, and they are much superior to iliac pull-downs. You can use any kind of handle, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you scooch back on the seat and lean back. This will bias the lat a lot more than going straight up and down. Science bros love to talk about 120 degrees of shoulder flexion for the most lats. As long as you're a little leaned back, you'll be good. Using this setup, your elbow will be less bent at the bottom, which means less bicep and more of a lengthen bias. You want to just go down to your chin, maybe even a little bit higher. Using full range of motion won't really give you more gains. Fuck me. One thing you shouldn't do is skip out on this top part of the lift. Slow it down in this position and let your shoulder blade drift out. You will get the sick sensation of your lat ripping apart. You can even hold it in between reps. This exercise is 1,000 times easier to set up. You don't have to be that annoying guy that brings an adjustable bench to the cable station. You also aren't limited by weight, because if you have any decent back strength, you'll quickly be able to max out the regular cables in a couple weeks. If I can max the stack for triceps, I sure as shit will be able to max it out for a compound movement. You're more stable in the pull down station because your legs are actually anchored. Your hand is holding on, you're good to go. The more stable you are, the more force you'll produce, and thus you'll gain more muscle. My second exercise is a horizontal one-arm row. You don't want to do them in the cable station or, God forbid, using a bench again. You'll get more out of it if you do it chest supported, ideally in one of those machines where you can move the handles separately. When you use cables, even if you brace on your knee or a bench, it will turn into this weird twisting movement when you get close to failure. The chest pad stops this. It anchors you down and actually allows you to focus on your back. Adjust your seat so you aren't resting when your arm is straight. You want the weight to be pulling on you the entire time. You'll feel mid-traps, rhomboids, teres, rear delts, and even some lats too. Once you find the right groove for this exercise, your back will be lit up like a Christmas tree. It will feel so good. In my opinion, one arm back work should be done as your secondary exercise and probably not first thing in the workout. Save the primary work for pull-ups and pull-downs, regular rows, stuff like that. I like to do them for sets of 10 to 15, 8 to 12, even 6 to 10. I don't go less than 6 reps. I save that for the heavier two-handed movements. Absolutely use straps and chalk. Make sure you start off with your weak arm, rest 30 to 60 seconds, and then switch.
0, 0, 0.
The form on these exercises is super important. It can be the difference between wasting your time and building a disgusting turtle shell on your back. I've got 4 tips which will make a world of difference. First of all, embrace the deep stretch. Big buzzword in the fitness industry. Everyone loves to talk about stretch-mediated hypertrophy, and especially for the back, it really does work to thicken up those muscles. So make sure you're reaching up as far as you can and have the weight pull your muscles apart. It feels awesome. Here's a golden nugget, a more advanced tip. After allowing your shoulder blades to come out, you also want to rotate slightly towards the arm that you're using. Do this for both exercises. It's a game changer. It really intensifies the stretch because it allows your hands to come closer to your midline. Make sure you scoot your butt slightly towards the side that you're using. This will also intensify the stretch. Second tip has to do with breathing. As you're coming down on that negative, at that part where you slow down, that's where you want to breathe in. Breathing in expands your rib cage, which will make the sensation that much crazier. Next tip is not to lean forward. After you bring out your shoulder blades, that's it. If you try to go farther on chest-supported rows, you'll end up rounding and just using your spinal erectors. If you lean forward on one-arm lat pull-downs, you'll just reduce the tension on your lats. Cue letting your shoulders out while keeping your chest high. You shouldn't be leaning too much or rounding forward. Feel free to embrace half reps and cheat reps. This is totally valid, especially for back exercises. If you want, only do the first half of the movement, aka lengthen partials, another big buzzword in the fitness industry. Sloppy cheat form works too, as long as you still emphasize that stretch.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
For the love of God, please don't use these as your only back exercises. There's lots of value to be gained by doing the basics, pull-ups, rows, deadlifts. These should be the foundation of your training. Your back is one of those muscle groups that will actually grow if you throw the kitchen sink. So do everything as hard as possible, as intense as possible, as much as possible. If your back is small, it probably isn't because, oh, my iliac lats are lagging, I really need to bring them up. Not every exercise needs to be as isolating as possible. I have nothing against isolation exercises. It's just that the back is too complex to be isolated in the same way as your arms or your hamstrings. The science bros will have a problem with me saying you should go all the way up because apparently you want to stay in the lat's active range of motion. I'm not going to argue with the science, but what I can tell you from my experience, N=1, I feel my lats like crazy on this exercise. It feels like they're going to get torn off my ribcage. This is the money zone right here. If I couldn't do this beginning part of the ROM, I probably wouldn't even do these exercises in the first place. I'll also flare my elbows out, which is apparently a big no-no for iliac pull downs. You're supposed to keep your arms tight to your body, just use your lats. I really don't care. If I were you, I would play around. Try flared out, try tucked in, whatever feels nice. If you want to know my favorite arm exercises, watch this video here.